Hi, friends. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about Elon Musk, the good and the should we be concerned? SpaceX, Starlink. We'll talk about the FAA. We're going to talk about humanoid robots, all that and more with Patrick Wood of Technocracy News. That's next.
Welcome to Worldview Matters, discussing controversial issues, discerning current events, defending biblical Christianity. No topic off limits. And now, here's your host, David Fiorazzo.
Welcome, and thank you so much for watching, listening, sharing the podcast. Our guest today, Patrick Wood, is an author, and his website is technocracy.news. He brings us up to speed on so much of what's happening when it comes to trends, technocracy, the evil twins of technocracy and transhumanism. And again, the website technocracy.news. Before I bring him in, I want to make sure you are aware of his previous podcast he did with us last year. It's called Technopopulism and AI, and why we should be concerned. Of course, we were talking about the Trump administration, technopopulism and AI, and why we should be concerned. Patrick Wood, welcome back to Worldview Matters. Good to see you, brother.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. There's so much great information on your website about this very unique topic that now you're the go-to guy now. Like decades ago, people were going, what? Technocracy. But now we see all these new advancements, and we see Elon Musk. Now that's what we're going to talk about, who we're going to be talking about a lot, and what he's involved with. So overall, your concerns, the article we're going to focus on primarily is Musk deploys Starlink to upgrade FAA national airspace system. And we're going to talk about the money in just a minute. But I want bring up the other picture, Jeff, the look at the Starlink system. Is that live?
Yes.
Okay, it's moving. Yeah, I see blinking. So Patrick, explain to people, there's a lot of people that are looking at this going, what in the world? Please walk us through what this is.
Well, Musk has been busy, obviously, launching satellites for several years now. This is a picture of what's happened to planet Earth. He's basically covered the entire planet with satellites, and now is in the process of linking up not only internet but also voice communications that will potentially bypass all of the cell towers that we have in our on our land right now, and this is obviously a huge thing. He can use it for instance, for emergency victims like the hurricane and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Then also remember, Ukraine had no cell service at all. And internet service until Musk decided to give them access to this satellite network.
Wow!
And it's stunning, absolutely stunning.
Yes, that's a lot of power for one man, and that's one of the things we talked a little bit about last time you were on the show with us about the concerns about that. And now, of course, what he's doing. By the way, I love what he's doing with Doge and what the Trump administration is trying to root out and look and go through all the fraud and the abuse, the corruption and the waste and of our taxpayer dollars. So there's a lot of good that they're doing. But you have some concerns about when it comes to the national airspace over America and the FAA. There's a lot of money going into this. For example, where is it? Well, let's just go back to SpaceX. Has received $14.6 billion from NASA for various projects. And by the way, that image we were looking at, that live, that was just a satellite, active satellites. That wasn't just the Starlink system, Elon Musk and Starlink, from what I understand. So go ahead and share with us just some of the money and what's already been in the works, even before Donald Trump won re-election.
Well, exactly. And certainly Elon Musk with his SpaceX company, he's received so many contracts from the government, stunning amounts of money as well, like $14 5.6 billion from NASA.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, NASA is basically turning over rocket launches to SpaceX. That's the bottom line. So NASA, in a sense, has been taken over by Elon Musk and SpaceX. The government's still there with not NASA, but nevertheless, the rockets they're launching they belong to SpaceX, right? We also see that SpaceX has been helping the military, especially. They've had at least $5.6 billion in the last few years. And basically, can we say they're everywhere? He's everywhere at this point. Yeah, he's sucking money away from the government for sure. This is all taxpayer money, by the way.
Well, now this is not like a hidden. These aren't not hidden contracts, right?
No,
I mean, the Department of Defense, they awarded SpaceX $5.6 billion. These are contracts from the DoD, and so this is not a surprise. Not like the hidden, almost like a money laundering scheme from the left and some radicals that the Doge is uncovering, an abuse of our taxpayer dollars. This is something that, whether it's national defense or whether it's the military or SpaceX or satellites, this is something else that we're talking about, right? Exactly
so. And the question is, of course, should one person be in charge of all this stuff? This is central to national security, obviously.
Yeah.
The whole business of the spy satellites and the communication satellites, and then you look at the military involvement there. You look at NASA. You look at the involvement there, and there's other things that we haven't mentioned. That when you take the whole thing together, the question is: should one person really control this whole thing, even if he's benevolent at this point?
I want to read a quote from the article over on your website. Bloomberg reported that Elon Musk's SpaceX subsidiary, Starlink, is preparing to deploy terminals nationwide to upgrade the Federal Aviation Administration's national airspace system. Musk responded to the report on X, indicating that the current ground-based internet managed by Verizon is not working, and so is putting air travelers at serious risk. Patrick, your thoughts about that? We've had some amazing, of course, some airline, I don't want to say disasters, but crashes, maybe attributed to DEI and hiring policies and the FAA and air traffic control. But here he's saying Verizon, what they're doing is it's putting air travelers at serious risk. So your thoughts on the FAA now in this article?
Maybe that's true. I don't know. Verizon's been a big purveyor of cell traffic for sure. They have fiber optic all over the place as well. Maybe Musk is just taking a shot at Verizon to justify his inclusion of all his terminals around the country. But apparently they're going to work side by side with whatever Verizon has in place right now. And of course, the idea is that AI will assist the controllers and the towers.
Wow.
To keep everything separate. Now, Verizon doesn't have that at this point, as I understand it. So AI, everything that Musk does at this point, I have to say that everything he does is based on AI, including Tesla. He said himself that we're not an auto company. We make robots, and he looks at all of Tesla's the cars on the road basically as robots with intelligence built into them, right? AI.
Yes.
He's been doing that for a long time now. So,
wow.
Everywhere he goes is his AI goes with him.
So I want to mention, this is very interesting. An FAA spokesperson confirmed Bloomberg's report, stating that the agency is testing one terminal in Atlantic City and two in Alaska. And the military has also used Starlink terminals at remote bases for the past couple years. So it's not exactly a brand new, cutting edge system or idea here. This has been in the works. And so President Trump urged Congress to modernize the nation's aging air traffic control system, especially right after last month's Black Hawk helicopter collision with the airliner at the Ronald Reagan National Airport that killed 67 people. Now, there's been talk that DEI had something to do with that, with one of the woman that was in the Black Hawk. But that's for another podcast. We talked about that with Pete Garcia, and we've done that on other shows. So this is about technocracy. This is about AI. This is about Starlink and SpaceX. Patrick, before we take a brief pause in a couple minutes, for those that are listening or watching, that maybe their eyes are a little big right now, and they're trying to catch up with all this, and it's potentially overwhelming for the Christian to see what's going on. What should we be watching for, and what are other concerns maybe you can share?
Remember Bob Dylan, right? The times they are changing. Right now, you be humming that for the rest of the day, I'm sure. You should. But what's going on today is basically things are changing all over the world, not just in America. And we need to be ready for it. As Christians, we need to be ready for anything that comes. This is the system of the world. You have to remember is under the control of the devil, the Satan himself. God is still the owner of everything and all the physical stuff in the world, but he's temporarily given the system of the world, over to the devil to run, right? So we shouldn't be surprised what we see in the world today. But however, because most Christians still kind of have an affinity for the world, like for jobs and entertainment, you name it, most Christians find one foot is in the kingdom, another foot is in the world. And that's where the trouble's going to start.
Fact check true. I mean, those are, I was going to say hard words to hear, but it's true. We are not to conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And that's not through transhumanism or AI. That's just in the Word of God. Let me clarify how to renew our minds. But Patrick, there's an interesting paragraph or sentence or two in this article. Why would the Biden-Harris regime banish Starlink from rural federal programs to connect America? Because I guess they didn't like Musk. Why? And now all of a sudden, Starlink is rolled out, like you said, across Ukraine for cellular service. They help the hurricane victims. What can you tell us about the Biden-Harris or the left or the Democrats resisting this?
They hated Musk when he bought Twitter and fired all the leftists. That was it for Musk. Forget. I mean, it's obvious to me that they hated him from that point forward, and they're gonna punish him any way that they could. Well, that's all done at this point. They still hate him, I'm sure, but there's other reasons for the left to hate, like Trump at this point, all the stuff he's doing to release DEI from the federal agencies, et cetera.
So that it's funny that you say that. I'm thinking, can it be that simple? That By the way, I mean that was not to get off topic here, but when he took over Twitter X, and free speech was for the most part allowed back on the platform. That was a vehicle for Trump and for conservatives and for Christians even, that previously we got censored when we wanted to talk about certain topics. No wonder he was on the left's radar, or he was a bullseye. We've got to take a brief pause with Patrick Wood, technocracy.news. When we come back, friends, we're going to also be talking about humanoid robots, the pros and the cons on Worldview Matters.
Today's show is brought to you by Harbinger's Daily, world news biblically understood. Stay informed at harbingersdaily.com.
Friends, praise God that our audience is constantly growing, and He is just allowing us to connect with people like you, and you guys are sharing the podcast, and we're growing like crazy. It's been surging across platforms like Apple, Spotify, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, and our Freedom Project Media app. So thank you, and Lord willing, let's keep it going. Patrick Wood, transition now. It's I was going to say a clumsy transition, but not really, because it's the same topic and it still involves Elon Musk. You've got an article about humanoid robots building more humanoid robots, and I want to just quote you and let you elaborate a little bit. You say Elon Musk foresees a multi-trillion-dollar market for his humanoid robot, Optimus, by 2030. Another entry in the market is Apollo by Apptronic. Others will follow. The combination of crazy smart AI plus improved dexterity and mobility means the replacement of human labor in manufacturing. Worse, robots will soon be making and repairing themselves. Look for mass production by the end of 2025. End quote. Patrick Wood, I know you're not a prophet, but you put that out there pretty confidently. We're in 2025. We hear a lot about 2030, but here we're in 2025. Tell us more about this. We can see a lot of good things where human beings wouldn't have to do certain things. Robots can help with certain services, but we see a lot of people losing jobs, perhaps. Go ahead. Let's walk through this one now.
Well, this is a tough one because there would be a lot of jobs lost, especially in manufacturing. Where humans are necessary at this point. That's the bulk of human labor, I think, in our country is somehow related to manufacturing, and of course distribution. And you look at all the waiters and restaurants and other things that like the warehouse staff all across the country. Like, for instance, Amazon warehouses now are fully automated with robots. You have to see this in person to believe what they've done. But yeah.
So on assembly lines in Amazon warehouses, you're saying it's automation?
It really is at this point. Now they still have some. They do have some the humans left, but if I would say probably at this point, Amazon has made it about 90% robots and 10% of humans.
In the warehouses. Wow.
That's right, in the warehouses. Now, in manufacturing, don't get me wrong here. When these human-based images, they said that they're called humanoid. They're not human at all, right? But nevertheless, they can have dexterity in their hands, like I'm doing right here, and they can walk. They can see with their cameras embedded in their bodies. They have intelligent AI to assist everything they do, and at this point, they even have conversations with you as you work alongside them. So. This is something that people don't have any visibility until the first wave of these robots are unleashed on society. Elon Musk right now says he's going to release 10,000 of his Optimus robots, the latest model, by the end of 2025. And other companies might upstage him possibly, but nevertheless, he's going to do this, and he for 2026, he's planning on manufacturing hundreds of thousands of robots to roll out across the country. After that, it's Katie bar the door, because once they've got the assembly line configured, it's just like building Tesla cars. At that point, you just turn it, crank up the energy, and crank up the assembly line, and let all the robots make themselves at that point.
One of the sentences in the article, it says, measuring 5 foot 8 inches tall, Apollo can handle payloads of up to 55 pounds and operate for 4 hours on a single charge. It is currently billed as being capable of rudimentary tasks like loading cargo and moving cases around warehouses. What about the military, Patrick? That's where I see without looking at all the possibilities, I see a benefit to saving human lives.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more to it, but that's just off the top of my head that came to mind. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that the next war is going to be a robot war. It won't involve people necessarily like it did in like World War II and the First World War. It's going to be basically a technology war based on AI and robots and killing
Drones.
machines, whatever. If people get in the middle of that, it's going to be ugly. You can watch some dystopian movies on TV, I'm sure, in the theater that just explain exactly that. Where you're dodging the machines, firing at each other. But the military, I have to say this: the military has been so keen on this technology for decades now, and a lot of these companies have their startup funds provided by organizations like DARPA, for instance. It's associated with that's kind of the R&D version of the military, and so they've been keen to make not only robots in general, but also superhuman soldiers that are enhanced by technology. That's kind of scary.
Wow. Fascinating. And I have read a lot on just different types of warfare now with drones. So again,
Yes.
saving human lives. And it's already happening in the Middle East and other places. But if you go down in the article, it says Unitree's G1 is priced at $16,000. Is that like for one of them? Is that what I understand that to be?
That's right. Exactly right. And Elon Musk is going to price, he says at this point, he's going to price his own robot about $20,000 to $30,000. That's nothing. That's less than a car, basically. I mean, if you had a small business, or if you just wanted a servant around your house, wouldn't you rather pay for that instead of having a big fancy car that does nothing, it just sits in your driveway and consumes space? I mean, it's going to be a no-brainer for a lot of people.
Wow.
It's not, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, by the way. This is they're targeting, in particular, elder care industry at this point. This is, I mean, just think about it. All the people who are imported into our country to take care of elderly people in the homes and the nursing homes, stuff like that. All these people can be replaced at this point with robots who can motivate, can sort out medications, help them play games and talk to them, and etc. And you're going to see this is going to permeate so many different areas in society. It's going to stun people.
On the surface, the first thought of people in nursing homes, having all this help with robots or whatever, it's going, well, you think, well, that would, because they don't have enough help now, and elders do not get the right care. So I can see that as a big benefit, but then they're going to humans are going to lose jobs there. So, wow, there's a pro and there's a con. Most of this, isn't there?
It really is. I'll tell you what, when I get old, I'm not old now, you understand? But when I get old, I don't want a robot taking care of me. I'm sorry. I want a human connection at that point in my life.
Yes.
I really do.
Well, we are souls. We do need that compassion, that human touch. I think God intended it that way. So from a biblical perspective, now that I bring God into this, he's not up there surprised. He's not scratching his head going, oh my goodness, they've got some brainiacs down there coming up with things I never dreamed of. So Patrick, along those lines, God knows, just like Bible prophecy, God knows the end from the beginning. He knows how this advancement is going to go. Your final thoughts in the last couple minutes here on God's perspective, saying, this is just where we're at in history, and these are some of the things that are probably going to maybe not end well. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, yeah. Well, You remember the Tower of Babel? He was right. He was there, right? He watched
Yeah.
it all happen right before his eyes. And he
Yes.
finally said, I'm going to destroy this whole thing because those silly humans, they're going to do anything in their mind at this point. So I'm going to scramble their language. Wouldn't it be wonderful if God somehow scrambled the computer language all over the world and everything just went up in smoke? I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not making a prediction here, but
Yeah.
at this point, this is it's a lot like the Tower of Babel in many ways. It's based on technology. Tower of Babel was based on building technology in particular, because all of a sudden they had cut stones and they used tar to stick them together. That was very modern at that point, and it fooled all the people into thinking they can build this huge tower reaching into space. Well, it didn't happen, obviously. But today we have this illusion being put on us that technology can do anything in the world. We can reach to the stars. We can go to Mars. We can colonize the moon or any other planet we want. And this is the futile thinking of man. The Bible's very clear on this. Yeah. How futile are the thoughts and plans of man.
Yeah. So here we are seeing some of this lived out and played out. It's going to be fascinating, though, for those of us that are trying to keep up with as much as we can, but then just with discernment, understanding the times, watching. We're in the last days, watching what's going on, whether that be government, that be the culture, whether that be globalism or the Middle East or Israel. We didn't even talk about Israel, but this and they are talking about a high-tech country who leads the charge in a lot of advancements.
Yes.
Your final thoughts, Patrick? 30 seconds.
No, I don't have anything else to say, but I'll tell you what, this is the time to pray.
Yes, you can leave us with that. And that's it can be pretty heavy looking at some of this. And by the way, love your website, but friends, just know when you go there, you're going to read about stuff that you probably hadn't thought a lot about, maybe, because it's not typically something you hear in the news or in certain reports or on your favorite conservative outlets. But there's a lot of great information at technocracy.news, and including the articles we talked about today. Patrick Wood, thanks for your time, brother. Lord willing, we'll do it again.
My pleasure.
Friends, thanks for sharing the podcast, getting us out there. God bless you, and as always, keep speaking the truth about things that matter.